Hey up everyone! So today's movie I'm discussing on the channel is the latest film from writer-director Celine Song called Materialists. Celine Song's previous film, Past Lives, was the indie darling film of 2023, a film that was pretty much universally loved by both critics and audiences, so a lot of us were quite excited to see what she was going to do next. Her follow-up Materialists sees her pivoting more towards the mainstream romantic comedy, which in fairness isn't an easy genre to tackle. We could tell from Past Lives that Celine Song is clearly a romantic filmmaker, but could she pull off a romantic comedy? That was the question. And with Materialists, I will say, her astute writing and her delicate indie filmmaking sensibilities really do play well for the genre of romantic comedy. She feels right at home in this rom-com genre. I'm by no means like a massive rom-com guy, but this film really worked for me. Watching this film is genuinely one of the most enjoyable experiences I've had watching a film in a cinema this year. Rom-coms are meant to be fun, breezy watches, but the thing with Celine Song is that she is a filmmaker who makes films with so much heart, and her writing is always so honest that Materialist kind of transcends from being just another rom-com to something more special than that, okay? It feels so reflective of what modern dating and romance and relationships look like now, okay? You heard of like elevated horror? Well, Materialist, I think, is elevated rom-com. Most romantic comedy movies are pretty disposable. Like, you forget about them like a few days after you've watched them, but Materialist managed to find this lovely sweet spot where it does work as a charming date night movie, but it has enough substance that you don't immediately forget about it after you've watched it. But every now and then we do get a rom-com like Materialists or The Worst Person in the World, which actually have some longevity, okay? They have something meaningful to say, they get you thinking, and they stay with you after the credits have rolled. And with Celine Song, with Past Lives and now Materialist, she's just proving that she is a filmmaker who makes films that imprint on you. I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm a Celine Song stan. Oh, that's fun to say. Celine Song stan. Another tongue twister. Celine Song stan. Try it. Anyway, the plot of Materialist is centered around a New Yorker called Lucy, played in this film by Dakota Johnson. She is a former actress, but now works as a matchmaker for this company called Adore. And she's very good at her job. She successfully match-made 9 couples who have tied the knot, but when it comes to Lucy's own romantic conquest, she is still single. She's still looking for that person to settle down with, but eventually she finds herself torn between this idealistic, almost perfect man called Harry, played by Pedro Pascal, and also her ex, who is a aspiring theatre actor called John, who's played by Chris Evans. Oh, to be caught in the middle between Chris Evans and Pedro Pascal. Yeah, your life sucks. Materialist manages to be both light and deep because while, a love triangle in a romantic comedy isn't exactly groundbreaking, the film does explore the darker aspects of dating, but I don't want to go into too much detail there because it is a bit of a spoiler. But yeah, couched within this all too familiar plot of being torn between two lovers is a lot of razor-sharp observations about what it's like to navigate this world of dating and this modern, hectic, swipe left, swipe right, instant gratification culture now. Okay, what Celine Song has to say about dating is so astute and so relatable. Something about the way she writes dialogue just connects with my soul. Like, she has this way of like distilling the complexities and nuances of dating into really beautifully profound and almost simple terms. It is a little corny, but I think it's just the right amount of corny for a rom-com. Like, I never found the dialogue cloying or saccharine or sappy. Like, this is a movie, a rom-com no less, but the way that Celine Song shoots romance doesn't feel like typical rom-com romance. The romance between the characters in this just feels very organic. If anything, it feels understated. Dakota Johnson and Chris Evans' characters really do feel like they have just known each other for decades and they have a very relaxed, effortless chemistry with one another. It's kind of like two friends just reminiscing about the past, and it kind of doesn't even feel like they're acting, okay? It just feels very natural. All 3 of the main performances in this film are really good, but I wouldn't say it feels like any of the actors are flexing or really stretching themselves. And I'm not saying that as a criticism or a disservice to their performances. I think they're all great. And what I'm saying is their performances really do feel very natural and grounded and authentic. Like Dakota Johnson's Lucy isn't your typical protagonist that you'd find in a rom-com. Like, she's not that sweet bubbly girl looking for love in the big city. No, she's more real than that, okay? She herself is a realist. She's a pragmatist. The way her character views the world of love and dating is kind of clinical. Like, it's literally just maths to her. She just kind of views everyone as a series of checkpoints or data and then just tries to correspond that with a partner that seems well suited. And if that is how you approach love in the real world, then it does feel very cold and a bit cynical, because it does provide a nice counterpoint to Pedro Pascal's character, who is very charming and very romantic and doesn't sort of view the quest for love in the same way that Dakota Johnson does. But I will say, it doesn't really feel like Pedro Pascal is really acting in this film, because he is just playing a kind, soft-spoken, charming unicorn of a man. He's just playing himself. I see no acting here. And again, I'm not saying that's a criticism. I think he is perfectly cast here as Harry. Other things that I liked about this film was the cinematography by Shabia Kirchner was exquisite. He was the director of photography on Past Lives, and he really does have a gift for making New York look so idyllic and romantic. There's a lot of soft, natural lighting in this, and it's just very wistful. Also love the score by Daniel Pemberton, which was very unassuming, but just lovely. Also, the soundtrack choices in this were really good. Like, they weren't too mainstream. I didn't know any of them, but they just had that right amount of lovey-dovey where, again, it wasn't too sweet. But yeah, I feel a lot of people probably Googling the soundtrack after they've seen the film like I did. Some of you might be wondering, do I think the film has any Oscars chances? I think this film is unlikely to get any traction with the Academy. Not because it's a bad movie. I think it's great. I think people will like it. But at the end of the day, it's a rom-com and genre bias, isn't it? Perhaps its best chance of getting an Oscar nomination would be for Best Original Screenplay for Celine Song, because she did get in for Past Lives. The problem is, though, when you compare Materialists to Past Lives, there was just so much more palpable passion for Past Lives than there is for Materialists. And again, it is a rom-com. Some people will probably view it as fluffy and won't feel as much of a need to acknowledge this film. So yeah, I don't think it will get any Oscar nominations, but I would love to be proven wrong. I'd love to see it show up in Best Original Screenplay or even cinematography. Or heck, I wouldn't be upset if it showed up in Best Picture, but I'm not deluding myself into thinking that it will show up in Best Picture. I'm just saying I wouldn't mind if it did. But what do you guys think? Do you think Materialists might show up at the Oscars or maybe the Golden Globes? Whatever you think its award season chances are, do let your voice be heard in the comment section down below. Love hearing from you guys. Also, while I'm at it, if you're enjoying the video, you want to help me out, hit that little thumbs up button for me. It's good for the algorithm. When it comes to my negatives for this film, I will say the whole cave people thing at the beginning of this film did feel a little bit school play for me. Like, the actors were just way too hot to play like Neanderthals. And I feel like they probably could have done more to make them look more convincing. Like, you know, give them bushier eyebrows, or like done something to make their teeth look like they've not been whitened, or like just throw some dirt on their costumes so they look less like Halloween costumes. There was also some occasional product placement in this, which was a bit noticeable and annoying. And also some of the dialogue was a little bit repetitive in places, particularly towards the end. Yeah, Celine Song really likes to hammer that message home. But anyways, shall we ask them 3 questions? Firstly, would I watch this again? Absolutely. The romantic in me adored this movie. And the first thing I said to Glenn when I got through the door was, I cannot wait to take you to watch this film. Like, it's such a good date night movie. I can't wait to watch it again. I might have also found a new addition to my roster of like rainy day, sick day films. So it's like Devil Wears Prada, Mean Girls, and now Materialists. Okay, yeah, it's just a good comfort watch movie. So yeah, I'll definitely be watching this again. Expect to see it on the wall at some point. Question 2, do I recommend it for you guys? I really do want to recommend this film for everybody. Like I said, this was just such an enjoyable watch. And I know it's a rom-com, so some men might not gravitate towards it, but I wouldn't label this film as a chick flick, because Celine Song is commenting on something that is pretty universal to all of us, regardless of gender, age, or sexuality. This film even says that dating and romance are things that are often dismissed as frivolous or things that are quite girly. But it's one of the most relatable things about the human experience, okay? Our desire for connection and companionship, to find a partner. That in itself is a thing that brings us so much joy, but the actual trials and tribulations of finding that person can be quite testing, and there's a lot of sad stuff that comes with it, like loneliness and rejection and vulnerability, which is why I think everyone can and should watch a film like this, because you will connect with it on some level. With this film, Celine Song is exploring both the good and the bad sides of dating through a refreshingly modern lens. And she finds this lovely middle ground where it's realistic, but also hopeful and optimistic. So yeah, for the gents that are watching, I do want to say give it a try, okay? This film may pleasantly surprise you. But yeah, in general, yes, I do recommend this film. And third question, what score am I going to give out of 10? I will admit that this film didn't hit me as hard as Past Lives did, but I was still so swept up in Materialists, and it really did feel like I was watching the next progression of what a romantic comedy can feel like. So I'm going to give Materialists a score of 8.5 out of 10, but as always guys, it is just one bloke's opinion. I would love to hear your thoughts on Materialists. Have you seen it? If you have, what do you make of it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What did you think of the performances? Whatever you have to say, let your voice be heard in that comment section down below. If you want more movie, TV, and Oscars-related content, don't forget to click that subscribe button. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. For more things related to movies, TV, the Oscars, and popcorn culture, I'm Luke Harefield, and I'll see you next time.